Petro Poroshenko, featured on the ministry's list of people sought on unspecified criminal charges.
Ukraine is utilizing recently acquired and U.S.-made and supplied mobile surface-to-surface missile systems to target Russian military assets in the occupied Crimean Peninsula, according to the Kremlin statement.
Ukrainian troops launched 4 of the tactical 8ACMS missiles Friday night into Saturday.
A graduation ceremony at the University of Michigan on Saturday was briefly disrupted by dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters. The Justice Department indicted Representative Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Texas, and his wife on charges of conspiracy and accepting nearly $600,000 in bribes from foreign entities.
Should not be interpreted as a statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Okay, well, we have no audio.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Checking my audio sources right now. Give me 1 second, fellas. I know it's we're a little weird today. I don't know. It was all working fine just a moment ago, but now it's not. So give me 1 moment, and I'll see if I can correct the situation here. Turn that on. Turn that on. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, indeed. Dude. How about that? Hello, hello, hello. Nope, we're not seeing any of it, right? Nope. No. You guys hear me? If you can hear me, give me, yeah. I don't know why we can't get the
broadcasting from the Rocky
sound effects or any of that kind of stuff. You hearing that stuff? I'm not hearing it.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Let's go with it. Wake up, America. I don't know
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
It's Monday, May 6th, 2024, and I don't know what's going on yet. So, the ketamine is not slowing me down. Good morning, Ian. Kind of off to a weird start here. I'm not sure why I can't hear and I'm hopefully going to be able to hear the gentlemen when they come in a moment. I'm just checking my settings one more time here. Audio analog test. I can hear the background music in there. Let's see one more time with this and check these things. No, I don't hear any of these.
Broadcasting from the Rocky Cliffs
That's
of
very,
Shoreham, New York.
Very disconcerting here. Like, why don't I hear them? And I know they're playing because I could see it coming through on the meters there. It's on the other machine. Headaches, technical glitches, and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know what? I think probably the best way to move forward, I'm going to play a commercial and see if I can hear the gentleman after I bring them in. So let me just play a Mind Bloom commercial. You can get ketamine treatment at home. Our new sponsor, Mind Bloom. Link is in the chat room, in the description. It's everywhere you can.
Mind Bloom is helping people achieve life-changing clinical and personal breakthroughs, alchemizing both the psychedelic medication, psychiatric care from psychiatric clinicians, coaches, we call psychedelic guides, and a lot of content and meditations and programs into this really transformational experience that, because it's delivered at home, costs a lot less and is a lot more convenient for people to receive.
All right. Good morning, fellas. Can I hear you?
Good morning.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that's so.
TJ,
Well, your
TJ's being
experience.
a dick right now, of course.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Don't disappoint your mother again. Go to MindDogTV.com and get her that thing that she always wanted to buy for herself, but was too unselfish and too busy sacrificing for you to get it for herself. Don't be selfish. Spend some money on your mom. MindDogTV.com. Enjoy the suffering.
Enjoy the suffering.
Spend your money on your mom. You know I did.
I can't hear the sound effects.
I'm your teacher.
None of this stuff.
So that's what's been happening on my end sometimes, and I think Ron said on his too with the news, and even some of the commercials. For me, sometimes they just don't play.
So I heard the commercial. I heard the Mind Bloom commercial. I hear the video stuff. I'm just not hearing the audio stuff, which was weird, and I don't know how to fix it in the moment. It was working this morning when I tested everything. Very weird.
Maybe it's the Chinese trying to get into your infrastructure.
All you guys, I people, because I'm an Android guy.
I'm an eye guy.
I'm an ear guy. I'm more of an ear guy than an eye guy. I don't know.
I'm just looking for a common denominator. I'm looking for a common denominator.
I'll tell you what I am right now is anti-Windows.
Oh.
Well, you shouldn't walk past them naked anyway.
I can't do that.
I learned my lesson the hard way.
Right.
There was a small child. There was a small child looking through my dining room window, looking for my kid to come out and play, and my kid wasn't home, and I was by myself. So I walked from the bathroom to the kitchen nude to get something to drink, and she's. I had to call my neighbor and say, "Look, I was not trying to flash your daughter. I did not know anyone was looking through my dining room window."
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? Sometimes
7 minutes in
for a reason. Acceptance and all this stuff. Because I was going to go on a rant today, and maybe I shouldn't go on a rant. Maybe all this technical glitching is telling me don't rant. That's what this could be. I don't know.
This is, however, your show. So
yeah. Listen, I don't like to start war, but I did start a little bit of a argument on Facebook over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw any of it. Basically, yet another comedian came out and said, basically he, just looking to make it, like, and I just kept. I want to know what the fuck make it means, and I know what make it means, but I want to hear them say it because I think there are two types of people who say make it. There are people who can easily and happy to define it, and there are people who can't define it or won't define it because they're afraid of how stupid it sounds when they do define it. The people who can define it will start basically with something like, I just want to pay my bills. I just want to get to a place where I can pay my bills just doing comedy, which is a nice goal, but it's kind of, you're kidding yourself if you think you're ever going to get to that place, because let's just say you have an apartment, you got a car, all that kind of stuff. You want to be able to pay your bills. You get to that point where you can pay your bills for that. The minute you get there, you want a house, you want a bigger apartment, you want another better car, you want furniture. You're never going to get to a place where you feel enough is enough. If you did, if that place existed, Taylor Swift would have stopped moving forward 10, 15 years ago. You never get to a point where you have enough. You always want more. So that idea of I just want to get to a place where I'm paying my bills. No, that's not it. You want to always continue to grow. That's what and my point is, if you're into the act of being a performer, every day, every time you do it, you've made it. I mean, this is, this idea of making it is just always going to be a goal that's out there. The people who can't define it are the people who are going to say something silly like, I'm rich and famous. I want to be rich and famous. Like, you know what? If you can't find worth in yourself at this point when you're not rich and famous, if you happen to get lucky and get rich and famous, you're still not going to be happy with yourself. You're still going to be a miserable bastard, which is why so many rich and famous people off themselves or die young from abusing themselves. You're not going to be happy chasing fame and fortune. And if it happens, it happens. It does happen to some people, but the idea that I need that to feel fulfilled in comedy, so I made it. It's fucking ridiculous, and it's driving me fucking nuts. With more and more people just keep saying, "Making it."
My suggestion to all of those people who want to be rich and famous, go down to the courthouse, change your name to Rich and Famous. That's
Famous.
it. Then you will be rich and famous everywhere. No matter where you go, people will say, "Look, there goes Rich and Famous."
Well, you can change your name to Rich and your wife's name to Famous, and then people will say, "Hey, there goes Rich and Famous."
Yeah, it's funny that you say it like that. Then, like when a performer or celebrity goes nuts, everyone's like, "Why did that person go nuts?"
Yeah.
But if you, depending on what type of performance they were doing, if that road was littered with snakes and dragons, as they normally are, no wonder by the time you have some success, you're like, "Fuck everybody else."
Right, yeah.
I don't know what kind of drugs you're doing, Ron, that you think the road is covered with snakes and dragons. That sounds like some serious.
Well, first of all, that's the good shit, and then a lot of meteoric rises, those quick discovery pop to the top deals, those also almost always end bad. Like
coffee.
That needs couch mouth resuscitation. Choking with the dog.
Coffee.
Cool. And I'm not one to, whatever you think your process is and your journey is, whatever. But personally, I would fear if somebody came up to me and offered me a pop to the top. I'd be a little nervous because, there's a reason for the process.
Well, the other part of it is the other word they use is haters. Fuck the haters. And fuck the people who told me I would never make it. Like, listen, I've been in show business for 55 years. Nobody has ever told me you'll never make it. Nobody has ever told you you'll never make it. That's what you heard when they said you're not ready yet. You need to work harder. You need to tighten that up a little. The gig is all booked, or you know what? Not right now. Not apply again in 6 months. Whatever. You didn't make it this time. You didn't make the cut. Those are the people told me I'll never make it. Nobody ever came out and said you'll never make it.
My first wife literally said, "You should give up on music. You'll never make it.
You'll never make it."
I will say my ex-wife told me the same thing. However, she was legitimately physically and emotionally abusive, so that was probably the nicest thing she ever said to me also. So
she used those words, and you didn't stop and say, define make it?
At the time, no, because I was having things thrown at me also. That was probably like the last thing on my mind was questioning, but yeah, but it was more like, "You're never going to be anything, you fucking loser," I think was the words.
Well, you're never going to be anything, you fucking loser is not the same as you'll never make it. Like, it's not the same.
Again, you're right, because it wasn't those exact words.
Yeah, my first wife was music specific because I was actually working on music. I was writing music at the time, trying to put together music for my CD, as a matter of fact. And she was, I played something for her. She goes, "Just give up. You're never going to make it."
And you didn't say, "What do you mean by make it?" Because for me, finishing the song, finishing the CD.
Well, I said to her, "I'm doing this for me." I said, "I'm doing this for me. I just played it for you because I didn't want you to think that all the time I'm spending by myself in the basement, I was, I didn't want you to be suspicious of my activity." And I think she'd rather I was cheating than playing music.
Well, and I think in the context of comedy, when people say, they say that you'll never make it, it's just like running into, I think it's more of like running into show producers, and then they tell you, "Oh, you're not a good fit for this show." And when a producer tells you that, it's like, oh, you're just a shitty show producer then, because
you're a
saying
hater.
you know everything that your audience wants, and you're not serving the audience. No.
Yeah, but then you're labeled as a hater. The guy didn't get me. He must hate me personally. You're just not right for his show. He doesn't like you. Whatever. Maybe he does hate you, but the term haters, you're putting that on people because you feel rejected, and you heard in your head you'll never make it when they just said, you know what.
Well, yeah, there is some of that, but too, like especially in comedy, there's people always trying to, because of their insecurities, or maybe they're just failed as a human being in their life, and they get like a little bit of power, but really the power is really not that great.
It's not, and let's be real. I mean, everybody has, I guess, a quote unquote haters or whatever. But like at the end of the day, a lot of those people are usually like insecure anyway. So there's not even a point in acknowledging them if they are there. You know what I'm saying? Like I experience a little bit of that here locally, because there's folks here that can't get a gig to save their fucking life, and because of that, there's some envy and some shade thrown my way. I don't even acknowledge them with the time of day. I see them, I say hi and smile, and I let them watch me win. Like that's just the way to go. Like there's just, at the end of the day, you can't even acknowledge them if they are there. You gotta say fuck you. Have a nice day.
Looks like the Bill Rhodes is in the background, but his camera's not on, so I'm hesitant to bring him in just yet. Oh, there's cameras coming.
Bill, I was joking when I said you had a face for radio.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't know by what I just said, Bill Rhodes, the foul-mouthed comedian, is our scheduled guest this morning. I've had some issues with guest bookings this weekend. Oh my God. Publicists who had a partnership, they booked guests on, and then those guests decide to leave them, and I don't want them on your show. If you want to continue working with me, you have to cancel them for your show. That kind of stuff. Like, how did I get in the middle of your little personal squabbles here? Like, first of all, there's no shortage of availability. Maybe there is this week, but I mean, you could always, if you have other people that you want to give give dates to. I have plenty of open dates in my book. It's not like there's a limited amount of dates, but this idea of they were with me when they booked with you. They've left me, and I want you to cancel their dates. It's like, why do I got to get involved in your own personal drama? I got my own fucking personal drama. So I've had issues with that. I had issues with people in Europe giving me the wrong. You know how we do today is 5-6 in Europe.
Yeah, they right there is kind of back, not backwards. Yeah, not backwards for us, but it's backwards to us, but it's not their way of writing it. Yeah,
and plus they like to use the tongue more than the finger. So okay, go on.
Yeah. So basically, I had people booked for this week who I thought were booked for July because they were 7-5, not 5-7, which is tomorrow.
Right. They do the day first and then the month.
Yeah. So
more important, people figure it out.
Yeah, some of that, and then lots of people, lots of comedians. I think mostly because of Steven's efforts last week of putting the stuff out on Facebook in different groups and stuff. Lots of people just give me either a date and no time, or a time and no date, or a Saturday or a Sunday.
Listen, I'm not vouching for any of these people. I don't know their level of intelligence. So.
I appreciate your efforts too. I mean, we're reaching out to people, but one guy sent me 3 empty emails, no subject line, nothing in it. And I was like, I finally wrote back to him. I said, do you want to say something to me? And then he said,
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
That's that New York guy. That's that New York thing coming out.
You got the email equivalent of a blank stare.
He sent me a link to a YouTube of his first time at a comedy club, and the text is over his face. You can't even see him. It just says his name, tries comedy for the first time, and basically you can't really hear him because the mic is in the back of the room on a phone, and so with text over his face, and that's his audition tape.
Yeah. Well, I've reached out to comics before, and like I made the mistake. I would put in like, "Hey, I have this spot on, let's say, 5, 6, 24, blah, blah, blah. Do you want it? And I'll get a message back and they'll be like, what day is that? Is that this month?
I love that. I hate that, but
Yeah, it's so frustrating. It's like, really? You don't know? Okay. Do you know how to tell time on a clock?
I think a lot of them are just need that attention and affirmation. You could have done a voicemail with you could have sent them a video message with the calendar and the date circled, and they would have gotten back to you. And basically, no matter what their text says, the context is, please pay more attention to me. I really need that validation.
Right. Yeah.
Or
turn your camera on and I'll bring you in the room whenever you're ready. But did we get it?
This is news in
can't hear this.
This is News in 60 with Alan Edwards.
Turn it off. That's weird. I can't hear the news. It looks like if we do the news today, I won't be able to hear it. I should go back and review it. Anyway,
well, do the news and just don't listen,
like you guys do.
Pull up. I usually pull up once I realize that it's playing. I pull up YouTube and listen to it.
Yeah, my YouTube is going to be delayed to. Oh, there's still in another room.
There he is.
Another man.
Yeah.
I'll bring him in just 1 second. I just want to bring this up. L.A. Netflix is a joke comedy festival. The city is going crazy with comedy for about 4 or 5 days here now. The city of Los Angeles, California. I am shocked that there's enough fan interest in comedy in one city to fill up all those shows. Now, I know some people are coming in from out of town, but there's an awful lot there are shows everywhere, big name comics. You can't, even if you love comedy like I do, you can't go to all those fucking shows. There's just too many.
Kill Tony alone will bring in a few thousand people because they said they've been selling out arenas.
Bill Burr was at the Rose Bowl. No, Hollywood Bowl.
Hollywood Bowl, yeah.
Yeah,
Hollywood
they're
Bowl.
be at the Rose Bowl. They're at every comedy club, every bar, every cafe.
Yeah, we got to talk about the roast from last night also.
Oh yeah.
I
didn't watch all of it, but I caught some highlights and
Tom Brady roast. I didn't see any of it. I just saw like 1 minute, more than 1 minute of it that Steven posted on Facebook. Tony Hinchcliffe. But yeah, you can inform me about that. Also, I know that Ron's probably going to do this in entertainment news, so I'll save my comments. I did watch Unfrosted last night. I made my wife watch it with me. We'll talk about that later. Anyway,
Awesome.
coming in right now he's flying in from Los Angeles. Just did the Rose Bowl last night himself. From Austin, Texas. The foul mouth teacher. Bill Rhodes. Let's welcome him into the program. Let's see if we can change this around. I'm technically not astute here today. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Very good.
Good morning, sir.
What do you got behind you there? Is that the?
It's Johnny 5. No disassemble. I was set up. I was set up in my office this morning, and on my laptop. And whenever I went to set everything down, I poured my coffee inside my laptop. So,
oh, nice.
Oh, shit.
I think somebody did that to mine today, too, because something is definitely amiss here. But, this is the technical difficulty show.
Was it calf or decaf?
I don't drink decaf. That's like non-alcoholic beer.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Amen. I feel you, man. My Windows blew up on Friday, so I'm on a Chromebook today, and it's been fucking horrible. So I understand.
This is a podcast studio that I'm building at the house right now, so it's in shambles.
We have your link to your podcast in here. It's on Spotify. Well, the main link on Spotify. I know it's a long one, but the link is there.
Don't worry about it. It's not even worth it right now.
It's not.
No. You can go to my website though, thefoulmouthteacher.com. That's where all my updates and everything are at right now.
Okay, I put that in the description. I had the podcast in the description. For some reason, when I Google your name, I get pages and pages of the podcast stuff, and your website is buried. But we'll get there and put that. In the description.
We should know that podcast is going to get some attention.
Yeah.
You're back in Austin now.
Yeah, I traveled around a little bit. Hit Florida. Hit.
I think you were in Colorado last time we talked.
I was in Utah last time.
Oh,
Hey, where did you go in Florida, Bill?
I was in the Fort Lauderdale area, so I stayed at Pompano Beach.
Nice.
Did a lot of Fort Lauderdale stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Did you do the Death Row comedy show?
I did not. It was packed when I got there. I didn't even go originally to do comedy. One of my wife's corporate buildings is there, and so I just kind of went and I was signing up for some open mic stuff to spread myself out a little bit, and hooked up with some guys. Nick Masick, a really good guy, and he helped me get some spots while I was there.
Okay,
my wife hooked up with some guys in Florida too, but it wasn't for comedy.
Oh,
if you go back to Florida, I would suggest hitting the Tampa Bay comedy scene. It's a great...
that's my next on the list.
Now, since the last time you were here, that Richard Francis Williams, the guy who used to be the warm-up guy on Last Comic Standing, put out a thing about Kill Tony that started a whole, I don't know, little war among comedians about the value of Kill Tony. You've been on Kill Tony.
Yes, sir.
Did it benefit your career in any way to be on Kill Tony?
I kind of have mixed feelings about it. After I got on, I had a better than okay set on there. I got a lot of positive outreach from it, and I started really marketing myself. The mistake that I made was not marketing myself months and months before. It gave me a little bit of confidence, but I challenge most comics to like, if you really want to be a comedian, treat yourself like a comic. Don't try to go get that one quick minute to be a comic. Treat yourself like a comic first. Market yourself, put yourself out there, travel if you can.
You know, that one guy I got into an argument, a little bit of an argument. It wasn't really an argument, about making it and what it means. And he came at me with, "I've been in the business for 15 years, and I know there are people who try to keep you down and all this stuff." And then I looked at his bio, and it said amateur comedian. I was like, if you're in it for 15 years, stop calling yourself an amateur, first of all. Just call yourself a comedian. Because if you haven't gotten paid, I don't know how you're going to define professional, but if most people will say if you get paid, you're a professional. If you haven't got paid in 15 years, chances
Maybe
are you
it should be, maybe it should say rank amateur and not just amateur.
or certified forensic humorist.
Yeah. Yeah.
The idea of limiting yourself or putting yourself down right in your bio is not good marketing. I suck. Don't hire me.
Yeah. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But then to argue with somebody who's been in show business for 55 years, like, my big chip, I've been in it for 15 years, but I'm still an amateur. Yeah, get a grip, son. Next month will be my 55th anniversary of my first paid gig.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I think the term "fake it till you make it" definitely applies in comedy. You got to put yourself out there like you're a Bill Burr or a Daniel Sloss or whoever. You know, you got to promote yourself just like you're as big as anyone else. Like, nobody fucking knows who the sitcom is, but goddamn it, if people that do know don't make me sound like a goddamn celebrity.
I know.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know
it's just,
who he is.
You got to promote it.
Wait, who's the sitcom?
I don't know who's the hell's this dog Ron lick tongue Ron Kane Ron. What?
Matt, my question is, when you got your first paid gig 55 years ago, was that a reach around or a rub and tug? What was it?
You want to know seriously what it was?
Trombone.
I was playing tenor banjo with the Long Island Banjo Society and played my first paying gig at 9 years old, just right before my 10th birthday. I actually had a banjo solo, lead banjo on Toot Toot Tootsie Goodbye, that song. That's what I was playing at 9 years old. But yeah, it wasn't any of it.
Yeah,
It wasn't
my first paid gig was also at 9. But it was actually for some artwork. I got hired to do to create birthday cards, and I got $5 for my first birthday card. And this was back in 1968. $5 for a birthday card that's a lot of money for a 9-year-old.
Yeah. Well,
my first paid gig was November 11th, 2023.
Veterans Day. So I want to come back to this Kill Tony thing. Now, did they support you in any way after the gig, or did you get any like supporting advice or anything constructive other than they're critiquing your 1 minute up there? But after that's over, do they give you any kind of support as that was good, but this is what you could do better next time, or any of that kind of stuff?
They honestly, they didn't even critique my minute when I got up there. We just went straight into the interview, and they had fun with the interview. And so, I mean, they didn't trash my material. They kind of, they made fun of me for being a teacher. All the cliche pedophile jokes, stuff like that.
Yeah, just run of the mill.
Yeah, most of the support I got was from. It wasn't from production of the Kill Tony show. Although Christy, one of the producers, she's really, really cool. Like, she's been helpful with a lot of stuff. But like, I hooked up with I've talked to David Jolly a couple times here and there. Celia Contreras, I've actually booked her in one of my shows and talked to her quite a bit.
That's what I'm looking for.
But the show itself, no. Like, no one who works for Tony Hinchcliffe or Joe Rogan or any of that production setup has reached out to me and like helped out or anything. I didn't get a secret show with Brian Redban. But
to be fair, they have so many comedians on there that it would be really difficult to do that. But Richard Francis Williams, the guy who started this whole thing with his video critique of Kill Tony, and it was really, you got to expect a fight when you say Kill Tony must die. You're going to expect that you got to expect some backlash on that. But his thing was, people were comparing it to the Tonight Show, saying it's the Tonight Show of this era, and where comedians get to make it. And he, as somebody who knew lots of people who were on the Tonight Show and did that stuff, there is a world of difference in that Tonight Show and David Letterman and all these people would definitely, they coach you before and after, keep in touch, follow up on your career and all that kind of stuff. And there's none of that going on with the Kill Tony stuff. It is what you would take you in, use you like a whore, now get the fuck out, and you'll never hear from us again type of situation. And at least from most people's perspectives, and that's not necessarily really helping anybody. If you just kind of use them for 1 minute, you're either good or you suck, and that's it. And now you're on your own again.
Well, it's not even that. It's that 60 seconds, that's yours. But everything after that, your 8, 9, 10 minutes of your interview, you're there to be exploited. If you can control the narrative and it's a good exploitation, you're in good shape. But if you have nothing, like if you don't have a stage presence, if you don't have experience controlling a conversation, controlling a debate, even you're going to look like an idiot when you're up there. And
yeah, that's where experience dealing with hecklers, dealing with stage time, dealing with improv, dealing with stuff that that's not scripted, that's not material. You need some experience with that before you get into that whole.
Yeah, instead of being heckled from the crowd, you're heckled from the establishment at this point. And they have a lot more control than a crowd does. So
right.
I feel like unless you're disabled or like really hot, like you're in for like a rough time up there.
What if you're
really
that
sounds disabled?
What if you're just like a big screaming dude with a big red beard?
I think he's a little disabled. There's something wrong there.
He's definitely there's probably a little bit of the tardation in there somewhere.
Oh, and he had a lot of other problems whenever he was going through stuff.
Oh, he's a vacuum cleaner. I see.
Well, he doesn't even drink anymore because he's trying to completely stay clean. But yeah, he was definitely on some performance enhancing things whenever he started off.
I'm not sure that he doesn't drink. Last I checked on him, when he had because Brett Erickson was doing Brett Erickson was his Ed McMahon on the William Montgomery show, which was on every Wednesday night. I haven't watched it in over a year, but he was drinking on that. He was drinking while doing that show. I don't know if he quit recently.
There's a recent episode. I think it was like Tucker Carlson or someone like that was on, and they're trying to, I guess, take shots or whatever, do a little cheers, toast kind of thing. And they tried to give him a drink. Oh, it was, Winona Judd tried to give him a drink, and he was refusing, and he leaned down. I think he told Tucker Carlson, I had a cocaine problem, so I don't drink anymore. And the cameras actually caught it.
Yeah, that's a weird one, but okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Bill: Is it fair to say, because from what I've seen,
Not
and
fair
then
to say that. No.
Oh,
Not
Jesus
fair.
Christ! Okay,
fair is a made up word anyway.
That's also true. So I was between the Reddits and the comments and things like that. It seems like if you're gonna go to Austin, you have one. You probably shouldn't. But if you are gonna go, it sounds like you need to just hit mics more than just the Kill Tony thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Kill
there's a
Tony
lot of
thing is
mics,
really
like-
gonna be like a lightning situation.
We have a local comic here named Derek who made a spreadsheet, like a Google sheet, with every open mic in the surrounding area. And yeah, I mean, like if you came down to Austin for a week, I could put you on anywhere from 4 to 8 mics a day, Sunday through Thursday.
Oh God, that is crazy. We have one every week, maybe.
I totally get that, and I'm trying not to mention specific individuals, but people who come to New York and they want to just go on the big stage and ignore all those opportunities around. If I were going to any city, whether it's New York, LA, Austin, you name it, any place, I'd want to do as 10 a night if I could possibly do it. I want to, get a few minutes here, then get on a bike or a train or a cab and get to the next place and do the next one. But I'll do 1 or 2, and then I'll just, take in the sights and make a vacation out of it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you got to be serious and
I would gladly hit 4 to 8 at night. 100%, I would.
And unless you're booked for a $50 feature spot at an open mic, or you got $100 gig somewhere, you're missing out on a great networking opportunity. I'm not going to say every mic is a quality mic, because there's a lot of people who try to mimic Kill Tony, stuff like that. It's like everyone's got a minute. Well, instead of a minute, we give you 2 minutes. And I mean, like I 90% of my jokes take 2.5 minutes just to set up. I'm not a one-liner comic. I'll be 44 in a few weeks, and I'm a dad. I was a single dad for a long time. A lot of my stuff is story stuff. It's real life experience, and so I don't get up there and have you heard the one about blah blah blah? Like, I tell a story. My kids are assholes, and I'm going to tell you why, and stuff like that. Like I can't do the 1 minute mic. 3 minutes. Like, if I get a good 3-minute mic, I'm going to tell one good joke.
Right.
And I'm not. Everyone's looking for that laughs per minute, and I'm not looking for laughs per minute. I'm going for quality over quantity.
Right.
So Bill, my question for you real quick is, have you had any students protesting when you're at your school? No.
I get quite a few on social media that are popping off with stuff here and there. I sell some T-shirts. I know last time when I was on, you looked at my website. It had been launched for like 2 days, and it was like yoga pants and like weird cups and stuff. But I've updated. I've actually had teachers that I worked with and some students who have bought some of my. Like, I have a shirt that's got my face on it with the microphone, and
right.
I actually just put this one out. This one's going to go on a fundraiser here pretty soon. It's got my picture on the back. I'm raising money to pay off school lunch debt. For the district that I worked for.
Oh, cool.
I might be in on that because that shirt is dope. I was just about to ask you if that was one of yours, because I would totally represent the foul-mouthed teacher.
Yeah, this one's mine. It's got my info on the back. I got a little surprise on every tag that you buy. I got a little surprise on them. Yeah.
If you lick it, there's acid.
What's that?
If you lick it, there's acid on the label.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can also see it on my OnlyFans. It's all like feet and buttholes.
Now,
I love feet and buttholes. In that order.
If you heard my little spiel earlier about Netflix, whatever is a joke, whatever comedy, that whole thing that's going on in LA, I am shocked that there is enough fan base for comedy to fill all those shows. But considering LA is there are lots of tourist activity, people there on vacation. It's a spot that people go to, but there are so many shows in 1 week. Because here comedy is not as big as the theater or music or any of those kind of things, films and all that stuff. It's there, and it's there's lots of comedy clubs in New York, but it's not like there are comedy fans to fill up stadiums left and right, two in a day. Like Forest Hills and Madison Square Garden can't both be filled up with comedy shows in the same day. But it seems like they're doing that this week in LA. The question is, with Austin being what it is, are there enough comedy fans, or does it depend on tourists to fill up all those rooms that are doing comedy?
So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Kill Tony had their New Year's Eve show was in Cedar Park, which is right outside of Austin, and the first show filled up so fast he booked a second one. Nate Bargatze performed here. I went and saw him 3 weeks ago, and he had a weekend show, 2 Saturdays and a Sunday, and those sold out so fast he went ahead and he booked a Monday show too. So like Nate Bargatze, who I think is hilarious, but I don't think he's a live attraction because he's not super exciting. The dude sold out 4 full arenas in 3 days. So I mean, there's definitely a market for it here. And the LA thing, I kind of want to touch on that. I think we're kind of finally leaving that that PC cancel culture era, and so I think people are a little bit more excited to actually go see live comedy and hear things. That's one thing that I do love about the Comedy Mothership and Joe Rogan and that no phones thing inside. Is you're going to go in and you're going to see some of the old school guys like Ron White do material that you've never heard, because he knows he's not being recorded. He knows that, it's a closed, intimate, kind of a private environment. And so the comedy is a little bit more edgy. If you go see Ari Shaffir there, I think you'll probably need counseling when you're done with some of the things that man says on stage.
He's dosing everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question about cancel, because I do comedy, and I don't know. I almost feel like the cancel culture thing is just a work, because you can say anything you want on stage anywhere. You can go and say anything. Now, if you go and you like saying racial slurs, yeah, that might be a problem for a comic like me. But really, you can say
depends on the race. Depends on the race you're picking on. Some races don't have as much clout as others.
Well, not just that, but there was a point where it was to the point where even I was having people come up to me and telling me my wheelchair jokes were offensive, and they weren't even in wheelchairs. Like
that's not cancel culture. That's just because I went and seen Adrian.
I meant more the PC thing than the PC cancel culture thing.
I think it's, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's just more that people aren't afraid to tell you anymore. Like before, 15 years ago, they wouldn't approach a comic and say, "Oh, that's wrong" or whatever. But because of socials and things like that, I think more people are just, all about themselves and more brazen and willing to tell you. Because I've done jokes about suicide on stage, and I remember there's a woman right in front, and she's like, oh my God. But it's like, so what? I'm still doing this joke, and the joke worked. So,
yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I've been putting out, but because this idea about comedy not being like, you can be Tony Hinchcliffe, and a lot of people never even heard that name, but he's a pretty big star in comedy. But you can't be pretty big star, same level star in music or film, and have most people in the United States never heard your name before. They might not be a fan of yours. They might not know you if you're a musician or an actor or whatever, but they've heard the name. They know what it is you do. But like, I have people who don't know who Bill Burr is, and I'm sure my wife doesn't, even though she watched the film with him in it last night. I didn't bother to stop and say, that's Bill Burr, because I know she doesn't know who Bill Burr is. But so that's the kind of why I'm surprised that there are enough fans of comedy in one city to support and this is different than what we just talked about, because right this week in LA, no exaggeration, there have to be 125 comedians putting on shows in the next day.
I could see it working though, just due to the wide spectrum of comics too. It's not just like Rogan's crew. It's not just the Comedy Store's crew. It's a good mix of everybody, which I think helps. And then I think you combine the fact that this festival has grown into quite a big deal. And then again, throwing in the fact that Kill Tony's doing the Forum, right? So it's all of that combined, I think is gonna
fill it. Ticket prices and time availability. Like, I have a life. I can't go to see 4 comedy shows in 2 days and pay $300 a seat for the get.
I mean, there's people on Twitter that are talking about that they've taken a week off for this thing.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's people that are taking like vacation time for this festival. Yeah.
And vacation money. You're gonna need vacation money. These shows are not cheap. That's the other point.
See, and I'm in Austin. I mean, we have the Austin City Limits Festival. We have South by Southwest. Like, it's a regular thing for people to come down here, take 8 to 10 days off, spend $2,500 a night on an Airbnb. Like that's a regular thing here.
And so after my last festival experience, I'd love to experience that once.
I'm sorry. Whoa. Did you say $2,500 a night for an Airbnb?
Yeah. I live in the outskirts. The guy that lives right across the street from me, he just bought like 50 acres and built a barn dominium. That house across the street, just for the week of South by Southwest, that pays the mortgage on that house and his land and building payment on his other property for the entire year.
Yeah, obviously it's working, and then Netflix knows what they're doing. They're not going to do something to lose money. I'm just surprised by that it's working, especially this time of year. You got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day. Oh, we lost Bill for a second there. I don't know if he's coming back, but you have graduation. You have lots of things that are going on that are going to cost people money this time of year. To be able to spend all that big money on tickets and vacation time when you have all those other things this time of year that you're going to be spending money on. I'm just shocked that there's enough interest in it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm shocked in a good way. But
I just think it's nice to see the comedy popping again a little bit. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bill, for a second, I thought you spilled your second cup of coffee.
No, I clicked the wrong button. I got it in a sippy cup now. I can't be trusted.
Hell yeah.
Unscientific data here on, because you guys know I've been doing reels about comic profiles or musician profiles on YouTube, those shorts. And a couple of things I'm noticing is all-time musicians will get like if I do Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, they get big numbers. Jimmy Page gets big numbers. Comedians generally have to be newer comedians to get traction at all. Like Bill Burr got big stuff, but if I do Richard Jennings, nobody heard of him. Or Bill Hicks got almost nothing. Andrew Dice Clay got almost nothing. But if I do somebody who's relevant today, that gets big stuff. That's one thing. Is male comedians do very well if they're relevant now. Male musicians do very well if they were classic rock stuff. But if I did Ed Sheeran got nothing.
Well, he's not a musician, is he?
No.
Is he a musician or a comedian? I don't know.
Ed Sheeran, you don't know Ed Sheeran? Okay.
Should I?
He played Harry Potter's sidekick.
Pop star.
Oh, the Harry Potter kid?
Not really. He's a little red-haired pop singer.
Yeah, he's a singer, singer-songwriter.
Okay.
Probably he's probably like second or third in line in popularity to Taylor Swift right now in the music world, or somewhere in that, at least in the top 10. Anyway, relevant. So that it's kind of interesting how in music, relevant guys now don't do well. Old-time classic people do well. In comedy, in the male side, relevant now does big numbers. Older comedians do little numbers. And then if you flip it genre-wise, it's the opposite of that. And for women are killing it on the music side. Like, of course, Taylor Swift, like in the first week, got 174,000 views on it. But Stevie Nicks also had 124,000 in the first week. Where, on the music side, in the first week, Jimi Hendrix, which was one of the big ones, did 4,000 in a week. So a big difference in numbers there. But female comedians get nothing. Maria Bamford, who is probably one of the best female comedians out there right now, I got 24 views as of yesterday in the first week that her profile has been up. Erica Rhodes got like 524. I mean, it's very weird how women and men get different reactions and the opposite reactions as far as comedy versus music and period that they work in, like older or new. It's just flip-flop, and I can't make any sense of it. Of course, this is from my subscribers to my YouTube channel, which makes a difference. They are mostly predominantly male Gen Xers and their taste on it, but it's just very surprising to me to see the difference both between music and comedy and the gender stuff and when they were most relevant, whether it was 30 years ago or now. And trying to make a reason of that, like why women comedians, especially modern women comedians, just get really good ones, are still getting no traction on the stuff where, Bill Burr or and you can name Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, those profiles get big numbers immediately. People jump on them immediately, but the women get nothing.
Yeah, it's like Matt Rife can fart on a camera and get 5 million views. Like,
yeah.
Somebody, a friend of mine called me the other night. He goes, "I sent you a reel of a comedian. He sent me it on WhatsApp." I was like, "I don't have WhatsApp." And then he said, "Well, I'll text it to you." And he texted me to. He said, "I think you probably know this guy," and it was Matt Rife. And then I had to explain to him who Matt Rife is and why he's popular and all. He said, "I love this guy," and he's a guy who. This is comedy. He's one of these people who think, I don't like any stand-up comedians. I'm funnier than all of them. I could get up. I'm as good as Jim Gaffigan or Sebastian Maniscalco or any of these people. Like, I should be selling out the Garden. I'm better than them. But Matt Rife totally floored him. And he wasn't doing any material, just doing crowd work. And he said that he loves that. That's what he would go to see. He would pay to go see that. Okay, but it's very weird that somebody who does not know Matt Rife from a hole in the wall, is all of a sudden a big fan and loving just the crowd work. Like, you realize he's not doing any material here. No, I love that.
Bill, how do you feel about crowd work? Because I think we've talked about it on the show before, and I think a lot of us share this idea that this crowd work is the whole crowd work thing being just a show is somewhat dangerous to comedy. Like, how do you feel about all this?
It definitely does. It changes the aspect because I believe it makes the crowd feel like they have too much control over the show sometimes. If you're not a crowd work comic, if you're not someone like, if you don't even acknowledge the crowd, you do have people who go to shows that are just waiting to speak up. I've seen it in shows that I've done with, a couple hundred people. I've seen it in shows at a beer bar with 10 people. And don't get me wrong. It's hilarious sometimes. Matt Rife is super talented when it comes to crowd work. Like the guy is on top of his game, but, Steven, you're a wrestling fan. I would compare this to, like, back in the day, you had ECW. These guys, every match were going out with ladders and tables and blood and all that. And so everyone expects this little niche to be what happens across the board, and so everyone else is trying to change the game. I see comics who are not crowd work comics trying to do crowd work because that's what's popular, and that's not everybody's calling. So,
well, here's my take on that, because I think Matt Rife, you said he's talented. I think he's skilled. He learned it by being he started comedy while he was still in high school, and he was a funny looking gawky kid that people would like to pick on. So he developed it as a defense mechanism. Crowd work is really hard to work on if you're not good at it, to go into a comedy club and develop it live in front of an audience. You're going to get murdered when you're starting out to learn that, because it's not the same as learning it in a high school gym when you were just snapping back at people who were picking on you. You're learning it live in front of a live audience who, they came armed, and you're not necessarily, you're just trying to develop a skill that, so I don't know if it's a talent, but I do think it is something that you can learn and develop. But learning it in a comedy club, I think you have to be one. You have to start out as a geek and get picked on a lot. And
I feel like Adam Ray is a good mix of the two. How he does a good amount of crowd work, but also mixes in a lot of hard worked on material. And he puts it together in a really good mix that lets the crowd interact, but doesn't let them take control of the show and get to do whatever they want. 'Cause, I mean, like Matt Rife shows, if you watch some of these clips, people are throwing shit on stage. They're brushing the stage. They're flashing them their tits, and like they're trading them bras for hats. And
I never
like,
get any of that. I'm a little disappointed.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see tits.
You don't
in
have
my
any
shows
hats to
too,
give?
but
You don't have any hats to give? Because I have hats for my show to give.
Well, now I'm completely bricked up. But anyways, watching his shows, it's almost to the point of like controlled chaos a little bit, because the crowd is so used to, like, they're literally out of their seats approaching the stage at any given time. And it's like, if that happened during my set, it'd probably throw me off to the point where I'd probably have to get off stage, because like I prefer the good old fashioned stand up comedy. Work on my material, come enjoy the show, sit back, get your popcorn, have a drink. Let me entertain you for however long you're here for, and it scares me a little bit, because people are getting brave, and then when people get brave, that kind of breeds violence and people to get a little extreme, and it can be a slippery slope, I think. So.
I saw a clip the other night. Sam Morrill was getting heckled by a guy, and the guy's heckle was limited to your mother. Ask your mother, and Sam was like, "That's all you got, dude." And he's like, and then the guy said something, and I heard Morrill say, "I'm not going to throw you out." And then the security guard came over and said, "I'm going to throw you out." And then the guy got thrown out. But all his friends were cheering that, like, and Sam Morrill said, "You're friends with that guy?" And they're like, "Not really. We're glad he got thrown out. Like, you don't even like him, do you? Like, how did he come along?" But there is that, those people who just want to fuck up a show for everybody. And I think if you're experienced enough, you can let the crowd handle it, because he's ruining it for you people who actually paid to see me, and you didn't pay to see him, and he's ruining your show. So and that's not exactly the way you want to put that, but
I've been part of 2 comedy shows where one woman pulled out her tits and another woman was completely nude.
Wow. Yeah.
Closest thing I got to that was my wife went to the bathroom, and this like 80-year-old lady showed her this saggy tramp stamp on her lower back, and my wife took a picture and sent it to me.
I hate to one up you guys, but I'm gonna one up you guys, or 10 up you guys. We've had, back in not that long ago, in this century, where guys brought their girls up to the stage and pulled out their girls' tits and are showing them to the band, and they're playing with the tits and asking the band to suck her tits. And girls who were fans of the band go over and start making out with these girls, and then going down on fucking eating pussy right in front of the band, like on the floor, licking, girls eating each other out right in front of them.
That's crazy, with the average age of your audience being in their 60s.
They were probably 20, 30-year-olds, and it was Wild West. But we got a gig in a place just down the block from there, and the girl went to take her top off, and the owner said, "No, stop." I was like, "That's fucked up. I hate this place. We're never playing here again. Stop the window."
I mean, don't get me wrong. Joke bunnies, I mean, they're a thing, and more often than not, they're at shows, but it never really devolves into animalistic chaos like that.
The only tits that are likely to come out at any of my shows are mine.
When we had the woman that was fully nude, this was at a mic. This is like during COVID times, and I was running an underground mic or whatever you want to call it. So it was like the only mic that was happening once a week at the time, and it was in this place in Lancaster. And this woman had been showing up, and she'd done comedy a few times. And she was kind of eccentric. She was living in a van with her boyfriend, and they like travel around. And she shows up in like a robe one day, and she's like, "Hey, I'm here." And the one comic, it was Damien, my friend Damien. He's up on stage, and he's doing his bit, and she's there, and he's talking to her, and he's like, "Hey, you have anything on underneath that robe?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "I don't believe you." So that's when she gets up. She stands up, she opens her robe, and she does this full spin. And it's like, oh, all right, nice bush. But
we have to get to news. Bill, do you want to hang out for a couple minutes?
Yeah.
We'll do the news here. I won't be able to hear this news, but I'm going to listen on my side here on the other. But this news is brought to you by Mind Bloom. Here, check it out.
The Justice Department indicted Representative Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Texas, and his wife on charges of conspiracy and accepting nearly $600,000 in bribes from foreign entities.
The charges alleged Cuellar and his wife, Imelda Cuellar, accepted nearly $600,000 in bribes from an oil and gas company owned by the Azerbaijan government and a bank headquartered in Mexico City in exchange for political favors. Wade Addison reporting.
A graduation ceremony at the University of Michigan on Saturday was briefly disrupted by dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters as higher education institutions across the country holding commencements braced for more demonstrations.
As the commencement ceremony got underway at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, protesters donning keffiyeh and graduation caps unfurled Palestinian flags and posters as they walked through the aisles. They marched toward the stage chanting, "Regents, Regents, you can't hide. You are funding genocide," the New York Times reported. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Ukraine is utilizing recently acquired and U.S.-made and supplied mobile surface-to-surface missile systems to target Russian military assets in the occupied Crimean Peninsula, according to the Kremlin statement.
Ukrainian troops launched 4 of the tactical 8ACMS missiles Friday night into Saturday morning, which were intercepted and shot down by Russia's air defense system, the Russian Defense Ministry said in a telegram post. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Russia has put Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on its wanted list, Russian state media reported Saturday, citing the Interior Ministry's database.
As of Saturday afternoon, both Zelensky and his predecessor, Petro Poroshenko, featured on the ministry's list of people sought on unspecified criminal charges. The commander of Ukraine's ground forces, General Alexander Pavlyuk, was also included on the list. Russian officials did not immediately clarify the allegations against any of the men. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Aetna has agreed to settle a lawsuit that accused the health insurer of discriminating against LGBTQ plus customers in need of fertility treatment.
Under the deal announced, the insurer will make coverage of artificial insemination standard for all customers nationally and work to ensure that patients have equal access to more expensive in vitro fertilization procedures. Kyle Norris reporting.
Boeing could begin laying off more than 100 employees at its facility in Birmingham, Alabama state officials warned.
Potential layoffs of 128 employees could begin June 28th, the Birmingham Business Journal reported, citing a report issued by the Alabama Department of Commerce. The department's worker adjustment and retraining notification list details plant closures, layoffs, and other labor impacts in the state. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Mexican authorities said that 3 bodies were recovered in an area of Baja California near where 2 Australians and an American went missing last weekend during an apparent camping and surfing trip.
The state prosecutor's office did not say whether the bodies were those of the 3 foreigners, but said the bodies were discovered during the search for the missing men. It also announced that 3 people who were being questioned in the case of the missing men had been arrested and charged. Paul Gomez reporting.
Kevin Spacey, the Oscar-winning actor, has denied new allegations of inappropriate behavior from men who will feature in a documentary on British television
Case of the
that is
Missing
due
Men.
to be released this week.
In an online interview with journalist Dan Wooten, Spacey said he has never done anything illegal and admitted that he has struggled to get back to work after being acquitted last year of criminal charges in a London court. I can't go through this again, allowing myself to be based.
All right. I'm done with that.
Kevin Spacey, you nasty.
Seems like a lot of diddling going on there in the world. Like
weird.
Yeah, pea diddling is what we call it now.
Yeah, it's so much of that. And Louis C.K. has a bit about that. Like, it must be fucking good because all these guys know that it's like a death sentence to your career, your life, whatever. But they still do it anyway. It's like, leave the fucking kids alone. You can't. I mean, go for adults and you'll be okay. But the minute
it blows my mind that these celebrities could have as much consensual intercourse with any adult realistically that they chose, and yet they still have to be sick, disgusting fucking freaks and go after kids. Like, what the fuck, man?
Psychopath need to be in control mentality.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's the wrong people get famous and they just do these horrible things.
Yeah,
I think what I took from all of that was they don't know how to pronounce Cuellar. It's not Quiller. It's that's not how he pronounces his name.
That's what you got from that?
Yes, and that really annoyed me the whole time. It's like you're going to do a news story and you're going to make it national and you're selling it and you Google the man, talk to him, find out how he pronounces his name.
You're set up to be a school teacher. Yeah. You could have a kid turn in this amazing, beautiful essay, and you're like, you used the wrong there right there.
Well, and they should know better.
With Boeing's in the news.
You're saying that wrong too. It's boing,
boing. They're in the news, but they're in the news for something else that they don't mention in there. Now, all the Boeing stuff, all these planes have been having problems. They've been having structural problems everywhere. Every time you turn around, they got another plane that is
and whistleblowers winding up dead in hotel parking lots.
Two.
Now,
only two so far. Only two.
Do you know that Boeing is handling a launch for NASA to send people to the International Space Station today?
They're calling it the Challenger 2.
Yeah.
Boeing, man. As an Av geek, I'm an Airbus fan myself. I'm not really a Boeing guy, but I will say that Boeing lately, with all of their structural issues with doors, decompression, and now they want to go to space. You guys can't even handle being 36,000
That's a different division. Their space division and the airplane division are two totally different divisions.
Regardless.
So it's bigger profile. If you fuck up a space mission, they will talk about it forever. Even after the next space mission crashes, they're like, we're still talking about Challenger. Yeah. So, but with an airplane thing, there's so many airplane mishaps now that people are. When was the last time you talked about the door falling off? In the news, they don't. It's.
If you're an Av geek, it's every day.
Not since
it's every day in the community.
Anyway.
Yes.
Now, what about the thing that Ron alluded to, where the other day when the whistleblower just ended up dead? Now they said he was young and in good health.
Super sus.
Well, I just want to say for a second though, there is a big difference between those two divisions. Like in the airport division, they normally have 5 to 6 bolts left over from a build, and in the space division, it's only 1.
That's right, but it's never. And also with the space division, like once they found out a problem with the O-ring, every O-ring everywhere got checked 3, 4, 5 times.
I'll give you an O-ring.
To be fair, every time my wife gets something that needs to be assembled, there is 1 bolt or nut left over. So,
the biggest nut is the one putting it together.
Right.
Oh, shots fired.
I can't remember the title because I used to work as an inspector for aircraft parts, but it was like X-ray, infrared, zygo, thermal, nuclear detector or something like that, like some ridiculous job title that paid like $6 an hour back in the 1970s. But inspector, they often outsource the inspection of parts to in places in my neighborhood in Long Island. There's a big sector of business that is just airport inspection companies, airline, airliner inspection stuff. So if you're outsourcing it to a kid, like I was, like, a teenager at the time or whatever, and smoking a lot of pot on the job, no wonder we get.
Hey, this might be bad, but we could have a call in from the Boeing whistleblower from beyond the grave.
Oh, you actually have him on the line? Does he have your number?
Yeah, let me
hold on. I send it to him.
Get in touch with him. Come on, get him on the show. We want to hear. That's it.
That's him.
Oh, I don't hear anything. I
I'll get
don't hear sound effects.
I'll get that. Hold on. Yes, you're live with Steven and Mind Dog and GD Fenderson. Welcome to the show. Who is this?
Hey, this is the Boeing whistleblower. It's kind of breezy in here. Got a hole in the back of my head.
Hey, welcome to the show. Let me, Matt. This is Matt, the host. Matt, go ahead and take it away.
Do you put the whistle in the hole in the back of your head, or do you blow the whistle with your mouth?
Oh man, you should see this. You should see the sounds that I can make now from my head. It's beautiful.
Now, do you have any clue how that hole got in the back of your head, or it just popped up one day, popped over?
Oh, remember, it was straight forward. It was a suicide.
Oh,
Okay.
It was a suicide. I thought you just died in your sleep somehow.
I was just feeling really depressed because my Mario Kart score has not been great.
Okay, now do you want to name that? This is the perfect time if you have like evidence you want to share or people you'd like to incriminate here. The floor is yours. I mean, go for it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say anything that's out of school or anything that would be considered liable, but just say they buried me with a box of nuts.
Box of nuts.
Box of nuts.
I think we have a box of nuts right here, ready for them.
Oh wait, what is? Sorry, I just had to pull that O-ring off my cock. Sorry.
That's a cock ring out of your O. So now, basically, is your wife or your family getting compensated for your service with Boeing?
They actually are. My wife is pretty happy that I'm gone, but that's what it is.
You feel like giving us her number? Because
the compensation was they don't kill his wife and family as long as he put a hole through his head.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm not saying that, but if I'm going to fly Boeing, I definitely wouldn't sit in rows 1 through 35.
All right.
See, look, even the dead guy is an Airbus fan now.
It looks like your boss is here. Hold on a second. Maybe it's something. Your ex-boss, I want to say. I can't even find where he would be.
Oh, that guy's a dick.
Oh, here he is. Anyway, looks like that was the end of our conversation. I don't know how that.
Let's just say when you start at Boeing, you'll retire from Boeing.
Okay. If we can get back to Bill now, Bill, are you still teaching? Because last time you were here, I think you were advocating for yourself getting fired or something, or you were in like in-class suspension or something. Suspension.
So I got called in. I got put on administrative leave, and that's where I was whenever I saw you guys. Then they brought me back into human resources, and I was just doing like lesson planning for students and other classes. And then I did a joke just about my whole situation. And I was like, and some bitch named Amy in human resources, blah, blah, blah. Well, then when I go back to work on Monday, and Amy from human resources sat me down, and because I'd put it on my social, and evidently someone saw it and showed it to her. She was like, we think it's in everyone's best interest if you just go on administrative leave for the rest of the year. I was like, so I'm still getting paid through August? She goes, yeah. I was like, all right, say less. I'm out. And so I'm actually still getting paid through August for being a teacher.
God.
And yeah, so it's been
Now,
kind of
first of all, if you're a teacher out there and you're looking to do other things with your life, I'm not sure this is a good template for you, but it seems like at least gives you a couple of months of padding so that you can start to build your career. Now, in September comes, you're going to be out of a job or not?
My wife's super supportive. She's the breadwinner in the house. Well, she's Mexican. She's the tortilla winner in the house, so everything's taken care of.
See, I knew I liked you. See, because I'm in the same book. Except mine's Puerto Rican.
Oh, nice. Oh, you got one of the scary ones.
Ron imported his wife also.
Yeah, I got the scary one. That's the breadwinner, so I can do comedy. Yeah.
Now, nobody's going to call me a racist for saying the same thing. I'll call myself a racist. You fucking racist. Can't even get called a racist around here.
It's because
did you want to be called a racist around?
Well, why do you think I said the same thing? Puerto Rican and Mexican are not the same.
That's how you know you're a successful comic.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know what you meant by same thing. I thought you meant like your wife also was.
No, Steven said I got the same situation except my wife's Puerto Rican. I said that's the same thing as Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah. See, my wife would shank you for that. She would shove large, sharp objects into your body and laugh about it for calling her Mexican.
I learned that when I was in Florida too. You can't make fun of those Mexicans from Cuba either. They don't.
Yeah, Cubans.
Oh yeah, though the Mexican Cubans are rough.
Listen, I'm going to be a racist here, but Cubans definitely have a chip on their shoulder about this whole thing. Definitely,
they do.
They are more racist towards brown people than a lot of white people are.
Yeah, the Cubans that can pass for white will pass for white.
Yeah.
It always sounds good when a white guy says they're more racist.
More racist. They are. Cubans have a chip on the Miami Cubans who I don't know. They emigrated here in the Castro era. They definitely have a chip on their shoulder about what it means to be American. You're covering up GD with that. You didn't get me.
Yeah, and I didn't know it was coming, so I didn't say where the white women at.
Right. I think I could make that happen on me, but it's too much work. Too much work to wear that.
Oh my God. Oh man.
Now have we crossed the line?
So no,
I don't think so. No.
How
we...
often are you out working now? Are you making the most of the Austin scene where you're just basically taking advantage of every opportunity you can?
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of Austin quite a bit too. It's pretty saturated here. Like we've got an open mic on Monday nights after Kill Tony where like it's like 50 comics are going to get up, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but I bet 8 to 10 of them are good.
Yeah, I found when I was in Austin this past summer, it was the oversaturation, and there's so much bad comedy down there, and it just became so repetitive because all the talking points were the same, all the same. It was like trans, retard, Joe Rogan, and it's like, where are the jokes, guys? And when you get up there and do jokes, then people are like, what is this?
Wait a minute.
This guy didn't say one thing about Joe Rogan. What the fuck?
Yeah. I didn't know that Rogan was a trans retard. So I'm just learning that now from Ron.
God.
Well, Ron just said it. I'm just saying. I'm just learning it from Ron right now.
I learned a lot from Ron.
Ron just said that Joe was a trans retard, and I'm just saying I'm just learning that.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about Joe Rogan until I started hanging out with you guys. You guys have given me so much useless information about so many useless comics. I can't believe that I've learned all this stuff.
I mean, one thing I've learned honestly is I'm a lot funnier outside of Texas. Like I get to go to, a lot of these other places, and I'm like, yeah, and I ham up the accent. I'm from Austin, Texas, and our governor's in a wheelchair. Just kind of play that stuff up. What people want to hear every once in a while. What their culture stuff they hear from Texas. And I used Buck Owens is very famous for saying, "I had to leave Bakersfield to become famous in Bakersfield."
Right.
And
Yeah. What do you think that's about? Because I have some things in the works, and one of the things we decided is we weren't going to do anything in our home state because for some reason there's no love here. Like anywhere you go outside of
Jesus said it best. Jesus said it best. No prophet makes a prophet in his hometown.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly nailed it. But listen, I was just curious where you like. I was just curious, like what do you think that comes from? Like when it comes to like not getting love in the hometown.
You hit every open mic you have access to in your area, and in Austin, our open mics sometimes are shows, right? Like the one at Shakespeare's where we have a bunch of comics that go up after the Kill Tony show on Monday night. People walk out of Rogan's place next door and upstairs, and they hit Shakespeare's. They've already seen you at an open mic, right? They've heard your bread and butter, and that's an open mic where people are performing their best and not just working out material because there's an actual crowd there. Why are they going to come pay for you to go open up 10 minutes and watch you somewhere else? Like you're not going to get that because people are like, oh, I've already heard this.
It's a little bit of the, it's like a family thing. Your family will never, and even if you were the biggest star in the world, you come home to your family, you're just Steven, you're just, whoever you are. It's hard to see with that level of familiarity, somebody as a big star, somebody new comes into town. Oh, they're unknown, and they can have this mystique about them. If there's too much familiarity, it can't be seen as like.
If you want to be known in your hometown, leave, do something, then come back.
Yeah.
Watch The Rose, the movie The Rose. Bette Midler's kind of playing Janis Joplin, but her whole thing is that, and what the film seems to suggest is that Janis died because she wanted to be recognized by her hometown, and she was big everywhere in the world except Port Arthur, Texas, where she went back there, and they were like, "So what? We know you. We saw you when you were giving blowjobs in the girls' bathroom in high school. We don't. You're still Janis."
But I just say don't let that hurt your feelings if you've got to leave. I mean, you're not doing this to just sit at home and tell jokes, right? You want to get out.
100%. I totally agree. I mean,
consider your hometown. Consider your hometown football practice. That's where you're practicing, and you're leaving your practice field to go play the games, to go get the money. So
I mean, you follow me on social. You see, I get all over the place. It just blows my mind sometimes because like where I live, we only have one mic every week that you maybe can get on, and it's like so when there are shows in the area, it's like there's a select few that get booked and that's it, and so there's nothing here.
See, now I agree with everything you're saying because in the early '90s, South by Southwest was just starting to take foot, and then everybody wanted to go to Austin in music. And then when you went there and you got there, you saw, well, it's just too competitive and filled with garbage. There's no way you're going to make a splash in this town. And there are too many people here to make a splash, and too many people vying for the same stage. But in the same breath, that kind of goes back to where we started this conversation is I'm surprised there's enough fan base to keep all those people working, and that's where I was going. LA used to be the same way. People would go to LA to make it big in comedy, and then found out, or movies or whatever, and then found out everybody here is trying to be a movie star. It's the same thing. So here we have it. Everybody's trying to get to Austin, and the guy who lives in Austin is looking to get out of Austin.
It's ironic. We homeless people running open mics in Austin. I mean, it's that. And I mean, I don't mean like down on their luck homeless. I mean, they moved to Austin, live in their car, live in their van, and they're running an open mic. Wow. And it's that it's crazy. But the comedy scene, the way I look at it, there's two types of people. You have people who are happy and want to laugh, and you have people who want to be offended by things. And the best way to get that on both levels is comedy, right? I mean, you can either laugh and enjoy it, or you can go looking to be offended. And comedy gives you everything. Look at Howard Stern, man.
Howard Stern is an unusual thing because Howard was never funny in my view without the cast of characters around him, and so now he's kind of lost that whole whack pack stuff. He's not funny anymore, and people are saying, well, he's changed. No, he hasn't changed. He just
He
exposed.
was never funny. He was never funny per se. He was not
But
a
with
comedian.
Howard Stern, though, his most loyal listeners were the people that didn't like him. And Joe Rogan with his podcast is very similar. So with Howard Stern, America was very, very conservative at that time. So this guy went over the top. I don't even want to call it liberal because it wasn't very political. It was just shock value, anti-conservative. And so he got the listeners for that. Joe Rogan is at a time today where I think the world is a little more liberal and less conservative comparatively to, the Howard Stern days. I think he's kind of using the same formula, the same system to kind of go a little bit over the top, on the right side, or if you're on the screen that way.
This is interesting because I started working. Lex Fridman, who is a friend of Joe Rogan and a big time fanboy of Joe Rogan, had Destiny on, who is a streamer, a guy who talks politics while playing video games on Twitch and streams that stuff. Apparently has very strong opinions about things. Had him on. They were talking about Joe Rogan and the typical Joe Rogan fan. Destiny was trying to put the Joe Rogan listener in a box, and Lex kind of closed up and did this. Well, I'm a fan of Rogan. Got all angry at it and defensive about it, saying you can't put them in a box. But so I started to say that there are. Listen, we can't put them in a box saying they're all of average intelligence or above or below. We can't put, but we can't.
They all
say
like
they're
entourage and beat each other off.
There are a lot of white guys, a lot of bros. They are open to conspiratorial type of thinking. And the minute I said that, somebody said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This sounds like a government plant." I'm a government plant. You're counter to me saying the typical Joe Rogan fan is conspiratorial minded, is to come up with a conspiracy that the government put me here. That's what you're saying. So I think you can put them in a box, but not necessarily the box that Friedman was thinking that or was objecting to, because I think he was going to say, "Oh, they're all dumb, drunken bros," that type of, uneducated. I don't think that's the case. I think you can have very educated people. Eric Weinstein, you can't question his education. You can disagree with him on his political points, but you can't just question his education. He's, Oxford and Harvard and all that kind of stuff. So you have various levels of education, but they do have something in common. It's mostly male, it's predominantly male. It's generally, this conspiratorial-minded type of open to the government is behind everything, and you can't trust anybody, and everything has to have Alex Jones kind of mentality to it. So there's all that stuff. But
I
he
honestly,
knows his target audience.
Yeah, I honestly stopped listening a few years ago just because the show is very long. The show is very redundant. So it to me, it's like boring right-wing conservative media. It's like who, and most of that pool of comics that's on there has really shrunken down.
He's trying to be a new Rat Pack, I think, with his little bro comedy setup.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I have with him is like he won't bring on comics that are like really, really strong a lot of times, that are much better than he is.
If he does, it'll be one time, and then you'll never hear from him again. Like
you'll never hear from him, and you can see like his questions are different, and like he's a different person. So I mean, I guess he's like an interview chameleon. He'll just go to whatever his guest is. But for me, I just find the show too long.
Yeah,
I've never finished an episode.
This weekend, Russell Brand came back out of the closet to talk on Twitter. And he said the CIA is trying to get rid of him, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan. He named a bunch of these people. And I thought, well, that's a very weird thing. These are every one of the people he mentioned. believes that the CIA took out John Kennedy in broad daylight in front of thousands of witnesses, but they can't take out a couple of talk show hosts.
So he's become
those are old CIA guys. The new CIA guys, they're just not as good a shot as the old guys.
Joe Rogan walks up and down 6th Street in Austin all the time. He could get taken out at any point.
Does he pass a grassy knoll?
Russell Brand
passes a greasy knoll, but not.
And he's got security with him too, as well.
Who, Joe?
Yeah.
No, Joe. I've watched him walk out of the mothership into the Iron Cactus to go eat. I watched him walk down to Red Band's club, Sunset Strip down there. Like all those guys.
Now?
What's
I
that?
don't think he uses security when he's in.
But to that point, I would say that Kennedy has security around him too.
Well, Russell Brand has dove feet first into the alt-right. He got baptized as a Christian over the last week and immediately went into conspiracy theories right away, without second thought, just like baptized CIA.
Yeah.
Very
but
weird.
No, Joe does have security with him. You may not see them, but he does.
Black Ops security.
He does have a guy or two with him.
Black cock security, is that what you said?
I said Black Ops. Not Black Ops. Black
Okay.
Ops.
I got excited.
Yeah, the other one's not allowed in the green room.
Yeah. But it's just a bizarre conspiracy theory that, if the CIA wanted to take out any of those people, I think you're either saying that the CIA is totally incompetent. They can't take out a talk show host. They can't take out Russell Brand. What is a man bun scare them off?
We've seen how blatant these operatives are with like the way these people come up dead all the time. Like you're telling me that they can't do that same thing to a celebrity who loves citing autographs or fans and stuff. Like
one bad case of liquid death and he's gone.
Yeah.
Like you tell me you can't tamper with his liquid death or his cold plunge.
Yeah.
No.
So, the whole thing is really interesting, the whole conspiratorial mindset. But coming back to that, I do think you can profile to some extent the type of listener that they have, and they get offended by putting them in a box. But I think all marketing is based on those kind of analytics and understanding your audience. And so to say it can't be done for anybody's audience, I'm sure it can be done for my audience, although whatever they are, I
facial hair and
yeah,
and no hair.
So, do you have anything to plug for this week coming up, Bill? Or
yeah, I've got a show in Leander, Texas, at Leander Beer Market on the 11th coming up. I've got Nikki Coleman, who was probably the shining star of Tony Hinchcliffe's New Year's Eve shows, and 2 weeks after that, I've got Ryer Cameraman on May 25th at the Leander Beer Market. If you haven't seen Ryer, she's pretty cool. Like she's very, very different. Very, very funny comic. Pretty genuine person too. I like her a lot. So she's a door person at the mothership.
Well, send me reminders of all these, and I'll put them on my website. And
I will. I really appreciate that.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate you being here. We have to get on to entertainment news and all that kind of stuff.
Thanks. I'm going to go drain my laptop. So,
all right. Thanks for
See you
being
later,
here.
Bill.
Have
nice talking to you, brother.
Yeah.
Bye for now. Bill Rhodes, folks. Now, the entertainment reporter insists on stealing my spot. At least it wasn't Steven this time. Would you like to do entertainment news now? Can we do that now?
Yeah, we can do that now.
All right. This is brought to you by Mind Bloom, by the way. Mind Bloom is ketamine therapy you can do at home. Rotten Cane.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz.
It's showbiz.
Man, that's a fancy intro. I feel special.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Well, let's get into it, gentlemen. let's talk about movies first. The first thing is The Fall Guy. Well, it took a pretty big fall and only took in about $28 million this weekend at the U.S. box office.
Ooh,
Do you know how much it
all
cost
that
to produce?
publicity.
Yes, it was $130 million to make, and once you add in the marketing and all that, you're looking at like $200 million the studio spent. And
Wow.
Ooh, that is a flop. Is what that is.
Well,
yes.
not yet, but so far. I mean, because sometimes the movies are slow to catch on. If a movie is good, but nobody went to go see it at first, and word of mouth spread, then it could catch up. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I'm pretty much opposed to remakes of things that didn't need to be remade. But
Well, like the big, yeah, I see what you're saying, GD, and you're right. But like the big worry now with this movie is because it bombed so hard, they don't think it's going to get any traction, and everyone's like, this movie was had pretty good reviews. The score on it was really good. It's like a romantic comedy action movie, but it still didn't get anyone excited and limped to the finish line.
what was it up against? Was there something else that was up against that took away the crowds?
The other movie that opened up was a re-release of The Phantom Menace, and that made $8 million.
Ouch.
Just for a point of clarity here for me, because The Fall Guy is not a remake of a movie. It's a movie based on a television show. Am I correct?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and it's got that dreamboat Ryan Gosling in it, so people were expecting better. Yeah, and
Lee Majors is actually in the movie, but he doesn't
Yes.
play the Fall Guy. He doesn't have the starring role. He's probably his dad or something, right?
Yeah,
Probably a retired Fall Guy.
yeah.
The guy
and
who
then the
Bald
other movie,
guy.
the other movie that's still out there is Challengers with Zendaya, but that's doing all right. But if
That's
you
probably
like
going to go great once it hits DVD and they put in the uncut
DVD.
who the fuck is buying DVDs?
What the fuck is a DVD?
I got one somewhere. I'll find one. I use it as a coaster, I think.
The point is, after it leaves that thing and they start putting out the director's cut and the sex scenes that they had to take out to keep the rating low enough to get the teeny boppers to go see it.
I want the Snyder cut of Fall Guys, please.
Yeah, right now. The other big movie that opened this weekend, it wasn't in theaters, on Netflix, was Unfrosted, coinciding with Netflix is a Joke Festival. Unfrosted debuted on Friday. You know, that doesn't have numbers or anything. Did anyone watch Unfrosted?
I did, and I made my wife watch it.
I plan on watching it today, actually.
I laughed a lot, but not because it was funny, because it was so fucking stupid. And I was thinking that, you know what, if you got $1 billion, you can have a silly idea and not care and just hire like all these comedians to be in it and just have fun with it and not really care. But it's not really quality stuff. Some of it is very typical of Seinfeld writing, where he tries to have metaphors about everything that ever happened. But for me, I was laughing. I was laughing a lot, but not because I thought it was good, because I thought it was just, I can't believe somebody has the money to throw away on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I see definitely what you're saying with the Seinfeld writing, but I think overall, for just like a stupid comedy, it serves its purpose. It's like about 90 minutes, what a comedy should be. Is it really great? No. Are there funny moments in it? Yes. It's definitely a throwaway movie, but I
My
think
wife
that
said the Mike Myers feel to it, like the Mike Myers stuff where with the guy with the whatever the hell that is, but
Austin Powers.
Yeah, the Austin Powers type of stuff. Like it's got that kind of sensibility to it. Like this is lowbrow humor.
Yeah, it's but the thing is too is that it's ridiculous, and it doesn't really hide the fact that the movie is ridiculous. I mean, the whole plot itself and how they're scheming against one another, and there was a. What did you think of the funeral scene? I thought that was actually pretty funny. That was actually pretty damn funny.
No, I laughed loud at that, but again, I was laughing at how fucking stupid this is. But it would be something me and my friends would do. Stone, like, yeah, let's get the Fruit Loops. Fuck, hallelujah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you go into it knowing that you're not going to watch the greatest comedy all time, but it's going to entertain you probably for an hour and a half and give you some laughs, that's all you can really ask.
I have to say, at the end of it, I was in a good mood, and I was in a shitty mood before I started watching it. All day long yesterday, I had like a shitty mood.
So it did its job.
Yeah,
yeah. In that case, it did its job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The funniest, well, not funniest, but I bet you a lot of people didn't get the. And I don't want to ruin it for people, but get the January 6th references there with the the leader of the thing having the horns and all that stuff and all that. You know, it's kind of, if you're not like paying attention, you don't get that. I'm sure my wife didn't put that was a parody of January 6th in the whole scheme of things, but it's there.
Yeah,
So,
I would suggest anyone check it out. It might give you a few laughs, but it was, for me, it was just nice to see a comedy that doesn't try and run like over 2 hours and try and do like some big, like the characters got to have this big epiphany and everything. The drama is like, good. This was just a dumb comedy.
The amount of quality comedians that were in it was pretty staggering. How many people he got to be in this movie and play parts. And then at the end, the credits came, and the two people that I really wanted to see, because I think I have it right, but I don't know, Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, those characters, I thought David Spade was, not David Spade, Dana Carvey was Johnny Carson, but they don't say that. In the end, that credit doesn't come up. I don't know who played Johnny Carson. Do you?
No, I don't.
I'd have to see it, but I could probably tell you if it was Dana Carvey or not.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it makes sense that it would be Dana Carvey. I mean,
he does a great impression.
But the Ed McMahon was spot on too, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" They got to tell.
Yeah, and I did like
you wouldn't recognize.
I did like the Walter Cronkite stuff too, when he's just at the desk, like.
Yeah. But how much money do we know? How much money that cost to produce? Because there's a pretty big money production involved there, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's big money. I don't know the cost, but I'm gonna say how much.
And was it produced in Albuquerque at the Netflix studios, or was it an LA thing? Or that's what I'm curious. If Netflix Studios is putting out that kind of quality work, then they're definitely on the level of Universal, Paramount, all those LA studios that ruled the world for so long. So.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I might have to do some digging on that, because I know Netflix doesn't really just put those numbers out there. But this one says Unfrosted is projected to generate an estimated about $69.4 million in qualified spending.
Wow.
I don't understand how that works. I mean, because like my wife and I already subscribed to Netflix. Nobody from Netflix is getting another nickel from us if we watch it.
That's true.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I honestly, those I'm baffled at how they make money when they do that. My wife.
Well, it was filmed in California, from what the way it looks, because they got some big tax credit for doing it there. And if you're making a movie about Unfrosted, how much money did Kellogg's kick in to have their name plastered and logo? And so that's part of the money. Then you got to.
This is what I'm curious about. Kellogg's definitely got some boost out of but the Post was kind of put down in the movie, like they're the bad guys. Was Post part of? Were they okay? Did they sign off on it? Because
the Post probably didn't sign off on it, but Kellogg's just paid extra money to cover their loss from Post. It's like,
I bet you Post is okay with it, because either way, like, bad publicity in today's world is good publicity, and
it's not. Post I could see Post paying for that because, like, during the Jon Stewart run of The Daily Show, they would always run. He would do a small promo for Arby's, and he would just shit all over Arby's. Then he would say at the end of the ad, "It's like, can you believe they pay us to do this?" But Arby's loved it because it got people talking about Arby's, and people then go to Arby's. They're like, we want to see if it is shitty.
Arby's made a comeback.
Yeah, because well, actually, my wife and I never stopped going to. My wife and I didn't stop going to Arby's, but I went back to Arby's once I found out they had a turkey gyro. Yeah, I thought it was first. I thought it was euros. I thought they were giving away money, but yeah, but it's pretty good.
I'm looking. For here's what I'm looking for.
Goodbye, guys.